Looking at this alone from just a setup perspective will help you understand, are you setting yourself up for failure or success? Because it becomes very, very difficult to have a correct swing if you're not set up correctly, of course. But the model makes this no longer subjective. This is exactly how the GOAT model is moving. So you'll see that I'm pretty close here, but there's definitely going to be a little bit of differences. We all have physical limitations and differences, but you're going to see that for the most part, you can match no matter what your physical limitations are. I've got nerve damage, a fused neck, scoliosis, etc. You can match the model very, very closely, but you'll see that you'll start to understand how your movements are really different. I'm going to explain the graph up at the top corner in a second, but this is really what you want to start to notice is how are you truly moving and what's really different. So for instance, right here, when I pause this, notice the dots on my pelvis. So these represent roughly my hip sockets, and my right hip is much higher than my left, and which matches the model perfectly here. This is something I see all the time in all the students who are using this right now, that the left hip actually gets up too early. And this is because you're starting to spin out or hang back or fire your arms too soon, and that causes that the pelvis to tilt up rather than staying down. And this is keeping you from being able to load and drive into the ground and use your legs, and especially your trail hip, still late in the downswing, which I'm still able to do by keeping my hip higher because I'm driving off of that right hip correctly still. Now, here's where I start to fall off of the model a little bit. Notice my left shoulder starts to pop up early. I have a tendency to hang back. I'm driving a little bit too aggressive off my right leg at this point. You can see my right knee is kicked in more than the models, and that's because I'm not using my core enough. I'm kind of relying on my hips and leg to drive too much, but it starts to match up pretty close here, and then we get into a pretty close position, but because I started to hang back and spin my chest, which I'll show you in the sternum graph in just a second, that this gets me in the position to where I'm starting to hang back. But of course, it doesn't mean that you can't still play good golf. If you watch the club face coming into the ball, I still have good club face control, and the club face is squared up just fine, and I hit the ball very straight, as you guys know. And so it doesn't mean that you can't play great golf, but it means that I'm not very efficient.